Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be discussing Honore de Balzac's Eugenie Grandet, which is how you'd say it in French. I suppose an American might say Eugenie Grandet, but it's Eugenie Grandet. It's a very fine, not very long as you can see, novel, about 250 pages in this edition. It is a slow read. I don't want to give the impression that it's a page turner. You're going to be hanging on the edge of your seat, trying to get to the end. However, there is a momentum and there is an action that you want to follow. So part of that slowness is the setting. The setting of the book is out in the French countryside, and I want you to think of the old French countryside with its prejudices and its ways of doing things, for good or for ill, right? Not everything in old France was wonderful. But in any event, you have the sole daughter of a miserly cooper. And if you don't know what a cooper is, this is someone who makes barrels. So he works with wood. And there are two families in town competing for her hand. And they're always trying to one-up each other. When onto the scene bursts the only son of Eugenie's father's brother. So her uncle, which makes them cousins, of course. And this guy is a particular Paris dandy, already has a mistress, and he thinks he's going to come to town and impress everybody. But what he doesn't know is that something's about to happen to his father that's going to change his whole future. And that way I'll leave it there, no spoilers. But that major change to his father also affects Eugenie, who herself has not been drawn to either one of the family's suitors in particular, one way or the other. But she's a very sweet girl, so is her mother, and in a certain sense, so is the family servant, who is also a wonderful character. All of the characters that Balzac gives us are real. They're not stock characters. We get a sense of the personal character and the decisions in a granular way in such a short space. I think that's what's surprising to me, is that I really felt that I knew these characters even though the novel was not long, and even though the descriptions didn't need to go down to a surgical level. So what are you reading when you read this text? You're reading about, in a sense, this house, this town, this family, the interactions between father and son, between husband and wife, between servant and master, and then the question of money as the new god of this industrial age, of this developing bourgeois era of France, not just reflected in the miserly attitude of old Grandet, Mr. Grandet, the miser, who's part of the story, but also, in a sense, how little it means to Eugenie, who will, and again, without giving too much away, will inherit this fortune. She is his heir, and could make her one of the most wealthy women in France. And unlike her father, she doesn't care about money. And she does care about her cousin and about making sure that he makes his way in the world. And what I love too about this book is the ending is not inevitable. So I think it is part of good writing that when a reader gets to the end of a story, the ending makes sense. Not that it is inevitable, but that it's coherent. So here, what I like is that the ending is coherent, but it's not inevitable to me. I could have seen it going at least one other way, but the justice and the fitting end really had me pondering this book for a few days after finishing it. Now, I was actually reading it with a couple of friends. They were split on their verdict for it, but I think if you want to get some insight into old France, into the unlike some of the city novels, city tragedies, city comedies that you'd see in the plays where the focus is on the city, this allows you to get out into the French countryside and really see the story of humanity played out in this family. So ultimately, I think all characters get what they want, and I think it's a book, especially if you've never read any French literature. I think it's a fine way for you to get introduced also to one of the proposed lights of French literature, Balzac. So I can strongly recommend it. I would love to hear in the comments if you read it before or if you read it as a result of my recommendation and what you thought of it. If you'd like to support what we're doing in this channel, please feel free not just to go back and look at the old videos that I posted, but also to give us a like, subscribe if you'd like, and then feel free to support our work on Patreon. Until next time, enjoy your reading.